Okay, the other thing that I want to go ahead and talk about are these two triangles. This time I'm dealing with a CPCTC proof. So from our previous examples, if you've not watched the first and second video, I highly recommend that you do. We were trying to prove that two triangles are congruent. Here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to prove that the segment GK is congruent to segment JK. And this is because of CPCTC. Or sorry, CPCTC. And number one, always look at the given first before you jump into the proof, right? Look at the given. We know that KH bisects this angle GHJ. H is in the middle, so this is your vertex, right? So what does the bisector do to this angle? That means that this angle here is congruent to this angle there. Use 1R to indicate they are congruent. Now, over here, we have angle G, which is congruent to angle J. Why is that the case? Well, that's because it's given. We're just going to assume that's true. We're not going to argue. We're just going to let it happen. Angle G is congruent to angle J. I'm going to use two arcs there to show that those two angles are congruent. Now, I think I'm done. I've marked everything from my given, and now I'm going to go ahead and look at the picture itself. What do these two triangles share that I need to mark? Well, notice that we have these two triangles. They share the same side. Now, if they share the same side, they are congruent, so let's go ahead and mark that. And why are they congruent? We're going to say reflexive property. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with my proof. I don't see any vertical angles here. I don't see parallel lines cut by a transversal, so I don't need to write alternate interior angles. I think I am good here, unless I'm not. Let's see. KH bisects GHJ. That's good. Okay, and then angle G is congruent to angle J. So I marked everything. That's great. Number one, let's go ahead and write the given. So segment KH is bisecting angle GHJ, and angle G is congruent to angle J. That's going to be my given, okay? So again, we have, it says segment KH bisects angle GHJ, and you're going to tell me what happened. What is the result of that? Well, here's KH, and it splits the angle into two congruent parts, right? Here's my angle, and then here's my other angle, right? So we can write that as, we can say that angle GHK is congruent to JHK. And that's because of definition of angle bisector. Okay. Now, the other thing that we need to mark here is that, what else do I need to write? Did I forget something? Definition of angle bisector. We can say that KH is congruent to KH, right? Because these two triangles, again, they share the same side, right? So KH is congruent to KH. That's because of the reflexive property. And then, because we're not proving the triangles are congruent, this is a CPCTC proof, right? But I'm going to write that anyways. So JK... segment GK is congruent to segment JK. And we're not proving triangles are congruent, but you are expected to show that these two triangles are congruent and then say CPCTC for your last proof, right? We're proving that these segments are congruent. So for number 4, or before this or whatever you're dealing with in your proof, you need to make sure that you have a triangle congruency statement somewhere involving these two triangles, right? So we can say, let's say GKH, so triangle GKH, right? So let's take a look. G, it has two arcs here, so J has to be in front, and we have let's see, so here's K, and they share the same thing, so I can write K right after that. And then lastly, H has one arc, and the other triangle, you know, So we have one triangle here, and they share an H, and the other triangle here shares an H, so we have to write H there. Okay, so triangle GKH is congruent to triangle JKH, and that's because of what? Well, I have 2 arcs here and 2 arcs here. We can write an angle. We have 1 arc here and 1 arc there. We can go ahead and write angle there and an angle there. And these 2 triangles both share a side, right? And they're congruent, so we can write S and an S for side. So go ahead and take a look at it. Note that these angles are in one particular segment, right? Angle, still on the same line. Angle, still on the same line. And then I'm going to go ahead and move. The side is right after that. So that's angle, angle, side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other triangle. I have an angle here, still on the same line. Angle here, still on the same line, and then right after that is my side. So these 2 triangles are congruent because of the AAS postulate. Okay, now I'm going from here to here, and why can we say that segment GK is congruent to segment JK? Well, let's take a look. If I'm comparing these 2 triangles, angle G is congruent to angle J, which is true because we have 2 arcs here and 2 arcs there. K and K, they are congruent. Of course, they share the same vertex, and H and H, again, they have 1 arc there and 1 arc there, and they share the same vertex. Of course, they're going to be congruent as long as we write everything in order and all the things correspond. We can safely say that segment GK is congruent to segment JK. Okay, and this is because of CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.